Nintendo has always been known for its kid-friendliness with games like Mario, Zelda, and Animal Crossing. The vast majority of games on their platforms are rated E for E or T for teens. But every now and then, Nintendo lets a more mature rated M game slide past and be on their consoles. There are exactly 558 games released in North America for the Nintendo Gamecube, and as far as I can tell from my research, only 42 of them are rated M. And while I can't go over every single one of them today, I picked out a handful of games I think are lesser known and are pretty interesting, so let's jump right in. Starting us off today is one of the craziest games ever released on a Nintendo system, and that has to be BMX XXX. This game is full of raunchy sex-related humor and of course partial nudity, which is why it's got slapped with an M rating. According to employees at Acclaim who published the game, it was originally going to be another Dave Mirra BMX game, but late into development they realized that it was an extremely subpar game, and in order to try and save it, they added the sexual humor and nudity. Dave Mirra actually sued Acclaim to get his name removed from the game and succeeded after he saw what was added to it. He was then renamed BMX XXX. The game actually did draw a ton of media attention, but it was all negative because of this. Major retailers such as Toys R Us, Walmart, and Best Buy all refused to carry the game on their store shelves. As a result, the game sold extremely poorly and is a major reason for Acclaim filing for bankruptcy just 2 years later in 2004. Next up is a game called Eternal Darkness, which is a psychological horror game developed by Silicon Knights and published by Nintendo. The game was originally planned to be released on the N64, but was later chosen to be made into a launch title for the GameCube in 2002. The game features gameplay similar to Resident Evil, but with many interesting twists and tweaks. It features a sanity effect that will really mess with your head. The more insane your character goes, the more you start to notice it while playing the game. It starts off simple with sound effects being dropped or blood dripping down the screen, but it gets worse and worse over time. So things like camera angle being tilted, it turns the game off. It's such a crazy game. It's got loads of these weird things, and it's a really quirky game. My personal favorite is, like I said, it gives you like this error message, and then you think your GameCube is broken, but it's actually just a game screwing with you. Super cool game, and an incredible concept, and it makes you feel really, really immersed in the game, and it's seriously one of the best games on the system. So if you guys come across it, make sure to pick it up and give it a play. Another game that I never hear anyone talking about, but it has one of my favorite games growing up as a kid on the GameCube, is Gun. And it's kind of crazy to think this game came out in 2005, not only on the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, but also on the new Xbox 360 at the time. And I'm sure that the Xbox 360 version is much better, but back in 2005 I only had a GameCube, so that was the version that I played, and it kicked ass. It plays similar to a Wild Wild West GTA, or of course a more modern Red Dead Redemption game, and it is a massive open world filled with all kinds of things to explore and quest and tons of fun side missions. It got its M rating for realistic gun violence along with its adult language, and of course those are things that kids want in a game, so Gun actually did pretty well with critics and gamers alike. The Xbox 360 version even won a Game of the Year award from GameSpy, though I still prefer the GameCube version I played as a kid. Our next M-rated game is a lesser-known first-person shooter. Judge Dredd: Dredd vs. Death was released in 2005 on the GameCube. Think of it as a superhero comic meets a Duke Nukem game, as it clearly draws a ton of inspiration from Duke Nukem, while your character uses very similar style dialogue, which is kind of funny, I guess. It's kind of weird though. Like I said, it reminds me a ton of Duke Nukem. Anyway, the game features a law meter, which gauges how much you follow the law. It goes down when you fire on those who have not fired any first, or if you kill civilians, or cause collateral damage, that type of thing. And when the meter is completely depleted, the game is over. It's a weird mechanic, but it makes sense that you have to follow the law because, after all, you are a judge. Again, this game gets its M rated from its gun violence and mature language. Overall, it's an okay game, nothing special, but it's worth checking out if you are a fan of the comic.
They called me in for this.
Okay. One of the most hyper-violent and unique games on the GameCube is Killer 7. The game follows an elite group of assassins called the Killer 7 who perform hits on behalf of the United States government. The gameplay is a mixture of on-rails and first-person shooters. It's actually pretty interesting. I've never really actually played anything like this. It's got a really simplified control scheme. It makes playing it pretty easy, and it makes it pretty easy to focus on the very unique art style, which is pretty badass if you ask me. I really love how this game looks and feels. Anyway, the game was mostly overlooked when it came out, but it slowly but surely built up a fan base, which eventually led to the creator of the game, Gochi Suda, creating No More Heroes series on the Wii, which is a very similar style game, and another kick-ass series you guys should check out if you haven't played them already. There were a total of 6 Resident Evil games on the GameCube, but the one everyone remembers and loves the most has to, of course, be Resident Evil 4. Clearly, it was the gun violence and adult language this game got its M rating, but it's easily one of the best horror games of all time. Resident Evil 4 actually revolutionized the genre. Gone were the old tank controls of previous entries in the Resident Evil series, instead replaced with an updated, more modern control scheme that fit the game perfectly. Not only that, but the combat in the game, it was hectic, fast-paced, and incredibly scary. I love this game so much, and apparently so does everyone else, because it has been re-released on just about every major console, including new amazing versions on both PS4 and the Xbox One. Seriously, if you guys have not played this game already, do yourself a major favor and go pick it up. It is super cheap and easy to find on just about any system, and you will not be disappointed. Another very interesting first-person shooter series that never gets any love these days is Serious Sam: The Second Encounter. The first 2 games were on the Xbox exclusively, but Serious Sam: Second Encounter came to the GameCube in 2004. And its over-the-top gun violence and blood is what got it slapped with the M rating, but that's okay because the game totally kicked ass. It had a decent single-player campaign about being sent throughout time to fight monsters and what have you, and save the world, but the game really shines is the multiplayer modes. It's got that 007 GoldenEye or Perfect Dark feel to it, and it plays great. The wide variety of weapons and cool ways to use them made this a must-play for any teenager looking for a couch co-op multiplayer shooter back in the day. It's sad we haven't got to see anything from the series in quite a while, but maybe one day it'll return. In the meantime, you can't go wrong with this one on the GameCube. Speaking of time-traveling arcade-like first-person shooters, possibly the best FPS on the GameCube has to be TimeSplitters Future Perfect. The second TimeSplitters game to be featured on the GameCube, but unlike TimeSplitters 2, Future Perfect is actually rated M due to its more realistic gun violence and of course its adult dialogue. Much like Serious Sam, it features a time-traveling character who must go back in time to stop the past from happening. Again, the single-player experience is fine, but where the real fun comes from is in the multiplayer. And yes, the PS2 and Xbox version of the game did feature online multiplayer, but the GameCube did not, but split-screen local multiplayer was still loads of fun, and that's still one of the best games to play on the system. Another super fun M-rated game to go back and try out is Tarak Evolution for the GameCube. Released in 2002, it's a first-person shooter based around killing dinosaurs. The series was super popular at that time, having 3 titles released on the N64, so it made sense for Nintendo to try to make a follow-up game for their new system. The game is sort of like a Resident Evil game, but instead of zombies, it's dinosaurs, which of course is freaking awesome. As you can probably already guess, it's rated M for its gore and violence, just like you would expect. This is another game that has an outstanding 4-player split-screen couch multiplayer, and if you guys cannot tell, I was a huge fan of those type of games growing up. Anyway, the single player is also decent time, so I highly recommend trying this one out if you are a fan of the Tarak series. And our final game on the list, I chose a total oddball type game that I never hear anyone talking about. 13 is a first-person shooter with elements of stealth thrown in there. Pretty sweet, actually. The game centers around a main character named 13 who is awakened with amnesia. He uses a variety of weapons and gadgets to uncover the mystery of his identity, and has a pretty badass storyline along the way. It was released in 2003 on the GameCube, and 13 received mixed reviews at the time, but I think it's a major hidden gem on the system. I love the cel-shaded comic-like art style of the game, and the story, like I said, is pretty gripping and will have you on the edge of your seat the whole way through. And yes, it does also include a couch co-op multiplayer split-screen mode that is worth checking out with a few friends if you guys want to take the time to do that. This game was, again, hit with the M rating due to its gun violence, which may have played a role in its relatively poor sales. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for today. There's 10 M-rated Nintendo GameCube games. And if you guys can see, most of these were shooters, a lot of blood and gore and violence, and that's why they got to get their M rating. It's, you know, a little bit different than the Mario type games, and they really try to get to a little bit of a teenage audience with the GameCube, as a little bit more older audience than they were usually going for their previous systems. Anyway, I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you guys did, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in your sub boxes daily. Also, I would like to announce that I have started up a Patreon for anyone interested in helping support the channel. You guys can head over and check it out. Patreons get early access to videos such as this, private hangouts with me once a month. We hang out, we chat cartoons, video games. Maybe you guys add me on PSN or Xbox Live as well. We do all kinds of cool stuff. So if you guys are interested in any of that, there's a link down in the description. But until next time, guys, remember that's always Game Back Time somewhere. Till then, take it easy and peace out.
Right in.
Ninja.